commercial establishments. So the work that is done in collaboration with each other is tremendous in combating crime. The case involved a drug trafficking organization linked to various illegal armed groups, which are either under investigation or prosecution, are subject to asset forfeiture procedures under the direction of the Colombian Attorney General's office. Just an example of what this kind of cooperation kinds of delivers. The demands and conditions, Member of Parliament Marlin, Madam Chair, requested that. We can see to it that that report of the CF-ATF can be delivered as well to the members of Parliament. We will try to do so prior to the meeting on Friday that we're supposed to have to decide on the amendments. Member of Parliament, Madam Chair, asked how much success the Ekman Group has. Well, I just paraphrase a report that kind of illustrates the success factors that the cooperation of these approximately 140 organizations have had in the past and probably will have in the future as well. The membership of the CFTF costs about 63,000 guilders a year, and the membership of the Ekman Group about 48,000 guilders a year, and those fees are taken up into the budget of the ministry so that we can comply with this in this regard. The question as to whether the head of the MOT has been cleared, if the security clearance has received, the answer to that is yes. I believe she's at this moment the only one who has been completely cleared in the security clearance of the Internal Security Office. Member of Parliament Jules asks when was the effective date started. Well, as I've said, we started out 10-10-10 with zero possibilities and have since been building on the organization, on the difficult financial circumstances, which I don't have to explain to you. You all know that better than even better than I do. But it doesn't mean that nothing has happened. There has been reporting in the past since 2012. They have been reporting on unusual transactions. And in the meantime, we still continue to build on the organization. The continuity in that sense is guaranteed because of the organization itself has been established in the Landsverordening Organisatieoverheid, so the formation and all those aspects have been established and regulated. Our problem is naturally the implementation, and the implementation problems are two nature. One, finding the necessary knowledge and capacity to fill the organization, and two, naturally having sufficient finances to be able to do so. But it is a gradual improvement. I've said from 0 to 9 in that relatively short period of time is good, and I foresee that organization will grow with at least, we plan this year, about 5 in the coming year. Member of Parliament, Mr. Leonard, asked why it took so long to get to this point. Well, as I've just explained, one of the reasons naturally is the fact that we had to start from zero. The other reasons also that there were other conditions that have to be met that needed a higher priority. For instance, the adaptations to our penal code are important conditions that have to be met, and as you know, that was part of a major process of a complete review of the penal code of St. Martin. Those things had to be worked on first. At the same time, relationships with the other organizations had to be built. So there's a complex of factors that have contributed to the fact that we have reached this point, and we hope that we can move forward with the necessary speed to complete it in time for our accreditation, as I would call it, to the Ekman Group and the CF-ATF. On the question of Member of Parliament Franz Richardson concerning the banks, well, banks have to report to the organization itself, but also casinos itself has to report to the organization as far as unusual transactions is concerned, as has been defined by us. So we get information directly from the casinos itself, and naturally whatever transactions that are considered unusual by these institutions with the banks we also get. The problem that you mentioned, as far as I know, does not concern dealing with organizations that are considered suspect international. I don't know the exact details of that at this moment, but if you want me to find out, I will try to do so before the meeting on Friday, as to find out what exactly and based on what rules the banks in this specific case have decided that they were justified in not dealing with the institution. Your observation that the bank should respect the fact that the government has issued business permits for these institutions, well, that could be the case, but it is also so that we really do not vet all the organizations that get a business license as to their background. That is in the first instance. That is something new that is coming about at the moment, in which the directors have to, for instance, submit verklaring omtrent het gedrag, what they call a police record in popular terms. But naturally these things go much further. These organizations could have organizations behind them and then organizations behind them as well. Secondly, it could be that one starts out good but ends up on the wrong side of the track as well. So all of these things can come into play when it concerns doing business, and I believe the banks today have special responsibilities as far as dealing with money laundering is concerned and other criminal activities. So that could be the reason why the banks might, in their opinion, justifiably decline doing business. Naturally, the institution that is blocked from doing business with a bank in itself can go to courts and demand rectification if they feel that they are unjustifiably being targeted. Then Member of Parliament Myers would like to have some explanation about unusual transactions, and another member also asked about that. Member of Parliament Jules James asked whether the amount or the frequency is the factors for triggering reporting. Both can trigger a reporting on an unusual transaction. I believe the limit is 10,000 guilders or dollars. 20,000 guilders. But naturally, if you continue to pay 19,000, let's say every week or every day or whatever, so that you, in your opinion, just fall under the radar, you will still get targeted simply because it would also be seen as an unusual situation. I would now like to turn to the head of the unit and ask if she could give any additional information for the members. For the unusual transactions, yeah, on the unusual transactions.
Thank you, Minister. Ms. Stella.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The unusual transactions are established in two parts, and they are established by indicators which have been established by the Minister by ministerial decree. The indicators are for the unusual transactions, the objective indicators. That is 20,000 guilders or higher. If a transaction is of 20,000 guilders and higher, then the reporting institution reports it as under an objective indicator. If they find that the unusual transaction is suspicious, then it's reported by the institution as a suspicious transaction, which is more of a subjective nature. So I find that, for example, the person standing in front of me is nervous, or if in the background there are more people watching the moves of the client standing by the teller at the bank. So it's an issue of the teller being very vigilant to see what is going on. If the person is standing in front of him